Overcoming fear. Have you ever asked yourself, what would I do if I weren't afraid? Would you speak louder? Would you try harder? Would you finally chase the life you keep imagining? Napoleon Hill once said, fear is the tool of the man made devil. It paralyzes the faculty of reason, destroys self confidence, and undermines enthusiasm. Fear isn't just an emotion, it's a thief. It robs you of your potential before you even take your first step. It shows up as doubt, as procrastination, as perfectionism. Fear convinces you that you're not ready, that you're not smart enough, not strong enough, not good enough. But here's the truth that will change everything: your only limitation is the one you set up in your own mind. For over 25 years, Napoleon Hill studied the minds of the most successful people in history: Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Franklin D. Roosevelt. And he discovered something profound. Every single one of them had to overcome the same enemy you're facing right now: fear. But Hill didn't just study success, he studied failure. He interviewed thousands of people who never achieved their dreams, and he found that 98% of them had one thing in common: they were defeated by fear before they even began. Hill teaches that there are six basic fears that control human behavior. These aren't just psychological concepts, they're the invisible chains that keep most people trapped in mediocrity. Fear number one: the fear of poverty. This isn't just about money. This is the fear that you won't have enough resources, enough security, enough to take care of yourself and your family. This fear keeps you in jobs you hate, relationships that drain you, and situations that crush your spirit. You stay because leaving feels too risky. How many dreams have died because someone said, I can't afford to take that chance? How many businesses were never started? How many books were never written? How many relationships were never pursued? Fear number two: the fear of criticism. This is the fear that someone will judge you, mock you, reject you, tell you that you're not good enough. This fear kills more dreams than poverty ever could because it attacks your identity. It makes you shrink, it makes you hide, it makes you play small. How many times have you had a brilliant idea but kept it to yourself? How many times have you wanted to speak up but stayed silent? How many times have you dimmed your light because you were afraid someone might not like how bright you shine? Fear number three: the fear of ill health. This is the fear that your body will fail you, that you'll get sick, that you'll lose your physical abilities, that you'll be weak when you need to be strong. But Hill discovered something fascinating. The people who were most afraid of getting sick were often the ones who created their own illness through worry and stress. Fear number four: the fear of loss of love. This is the fear of being alone, of being abandoned, of not being worthy of love and connection. This fear makes you settle for relationships that don't serve you. It makes you change who you are to please others. It makes you give your power away to anyone who shows you attention. Fear number five: the fear of old age. This is the fear that your best days are behind you, that you've missed your chance, that it's too late to start over, to change, to become who you were meant to be. But Hill studied people who achieved their greatest success after age 40, 50, 60, and beyond. Age isn't a limitation, it's accumulated wisdom waiting to be unleashed. Fear number six: the fear of death. This is the ultimate fear: the fear that your life will end before you've truly lived it, that you'll reach the end with regrets instead of satisfaction. But here's the paradox Hill discovered: the fear of death prevents most people from truly living. They're so afraid of dying that they never really live. Now, you might be thinking these fears are natural. Everyone has them. And you're right. But here's what separates the successful from the unsuccessful: successful people Feel the fear and act anyway. Unsuccessful people feel the fear and let it make their decisions for them. Let me tell you something Hill couldn't have known in his time, but modern neuroscience has confirmed. Fear isn't just a feeling, it's a biological response that literally changes how your brain works. When you experience fear, your brain releases chemicals like cortisol and adrenaline. These chemicals are designed to help you survive immediate physical threats. But here's the problem: your brain can't tell the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. When you think about starting that business, your brain treats it like you're being chased by a tiger. When you consider having that difficult conversation, your nervous system responds like you're in mortal danger. This isn't your fault. This is evolution. For thousands of years, the humans who were most cautious were the ones who survived. But in today's world, excessive caution isn't keeping you safe, it's keeping you stuck. But here's the incredible news: you can rewire your brain. Every time you feel fear and take action anyway, you're literally creating new neural pathways that make courage easier the next time. Napoleon Hill didn't just identify the 6 basic fears, he developed a systematic approach for eliminating them. This formula has been tested by some of the most successful people in history. Step 1: identify your specific fear. Most people live with vague anxiety without ever identifying what they're actually afraid of. You can't defeat an enemy you can't see. Right now, think about a goal you've been postponing, a conversation you've been avoiding, a risk you've been unwilling to take. What specific fear is holding you back? Is it the fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of judgment, the fear of rejection, the fear of not being good enough? You must be brutally honest with yourself. Fear thrives in darkness and dies in the light of examination. Step 2: write down your fear. Hill was adamant about this. You must write it down. There's something powerful about putting your fears on paper. It makes them concrete, manageable, defeatable. Write, I am afraid of blank because I believe blank. For example, I am afraid of starting my own business because I believe I might fail and lose everything. I am afraid of asking for a promotion because I believe my boss might think I'm not qualified. I am afraid of ending this relationship because I believe I might never find love again. When you write down your fear, you often realize how irrational it is. You see the assumptions you've been making. You recognize the lies you've been telling yourself. Step 3: examine the evidence. Hill taught that most fears are based on false evidence. They're assumptions, not facts. Now you're going to challenge those assumptions. What evidence do I have that this fear is justified? What evidence do I have that it's not? What's the worst that could realistically happen? What's the best that could happen? What's most likely to happen? Let's say you're afraid of starting a business because you might fail. What evidence do you have that you'll fail? Have you failed at everything you've ever tried? Do you have any skills, knowledge, or experience that might help you succeed? What evidence do you have that you might succeed? What successful people started with less than you have? What would you tell a friend who had the same fear? Step 4: create a backup plan. Hill discovered that much of our fear comes from feeling out of control. When you create a backup plan, you take back control. Ask yourself, if the worst case scenario happens, what would I do? How would I recover? What resources would I have? Who would help me? When you have a plan for the worst case, you realize you're stronger and more resourceful than you thought. You can handle whatever comes. Step 5: take one small action. Hill taught that action cures fear. But he didn't say you have to take massive action. He said take action, any action, one small step forward. If you're afraid of starting a business, research one competitor. If you're afraid of asking for a promotion, schedule a meeting with your boss. If you're afraid of ending a relationship, have one honest conversation. Every small action you take in the face of fear builds your courage muscle. You prove to yourself that you can feel afraid and act anyway. Step 6, use auto suggestion. This is Hill's most powerful technique. Auto suggestion is the practice of deliberately programming your subconscious mind with empowering beliefs. Every morning and every night, you're going to read a statement of courage out loud. You're going to say it with emotion, with conviction, with absolute belief. I am bigger than my fear. I walk with purpose. I live with courage. I act in spite of doubt. Fear is false evidence appearing real. I choose faith over fear. I choose action over anxiety. I choose courage over comfort. Every day, in every way, I am becoming more courageous. I face my fears and they dissolve. I take action and I succeed. You must say these statements with feeling. Your subconscious mind responds to emotion, not just words. Feel the courage, feel the power, feel the certainty. Step 7, surround yourself with courage. Hill taught that you become like the people you spend time with. If you're surrounded by fearful people, you'll become more fearful. If you're surrounded by courageous people, you'll become more courageous. Read books by people who overcame great obstacles. Listen to podcasts by people who took big risks. Watch movies about triumph over adversity. Join communities of people who are pursuing their dreams. Stop consuming content that feeds your fears. Stop watching negative news. Stop listening to pessimistic people. Stop reading stories about failure and disaster. Fill your mind with stories of courage, success, and triumph. Your subconscious mind will absorb these messages and begin to believe them. Let me share some advanced strategies that will supercharge your courage. Instead of trying to overcome your biggest fear all at once, create a ladder of smaller fears that build up to it. If you're afraid of public speaking, don't start by giving a keynote speech. Start by speaking up in a small meeting, then present to your team, then speak at a local event, then work your way up to bigger stages. Each step builds your confidence and proves you can handle more than you thought. By the time you reach the top of the ladder, what seemed impossible now feels manageable. Here's another technique. Deliberately imagine the worst case scenario in vivid detail. Write down everything that could go wrong, every possible failure, every potential humiliation, every way things could fall apart. What you'll discover is that most of your fears are either unlikely to happen or less catastrophic than you imagined. And for the ones that are realistic, you'll realize you could handle them. This isn't negative thinking, it's realistic preparation. When you know you can handle the worst case, you're free to pursue the best case. Think of a time when you were truly courageous, a moment when you felt afraid but acted anyway, a time when you overcame something difficult. Remember everything about that moment, how you felt, what you saw, what you heard, what you said to yourself, how your body felt. Create a physical gesture. Clench your fist, touch your heart, squeeze your thumb, and connect it to that feeling of courage. Now, whenever you feel afraid, you can use that gesture to instantly access that feeling of courage. You're reminding your nervous system that you've been brave before and you can be brave again. Set a specific date by which you will face your fear. Not someday or when I'm ready. A specific date. Tell someone about your deadline. Ask them to hold you accountable. When you make a public commitment, you're more likely to follow through. As the deadline approaches, your fear will try to get stronger, but your commitment will be stronger. You'll realize that the pain of staying stuck is greater than the pain of taking action. Do something that scares you every single day. It doesn't have to be huge. Say hello to a stranger. Take a different route to work. Try a new food. Ask a question in a meeting. Send that email you've been putting off. These small acts of courage compound over time. Each one builds your courage muscle. After 30 days, you'll be amazed at how much braver you've become. Now, I want to share with you something that Hill understood intuitively, but that modern science has proven there's actually a physics to courage. Newton's first law of motion states that an object at rest stays at rest unless acted upon by an external force. The same is true for human behavior. When you're stuck in fear, you're like an object at rest. You'll stay stuck unless you apply force, the force of action. And here's the key: the force doesn't have to be huge, it just has to be consistent. Once you start moving, Newton's first law also says that an object in motion stays in motion. Every action you take in the face of fear creates momentum that makes the next action easier. Einstein taught us that energy can't be created or destroyed, only transformed. The same is true for the energy of fear. You can't eliminate it, but you can transform it into excitement, anticipation, and motivation. Instead of trying to get rid of fear, learn to reframe it. That nervous energy in your stomach isn't telling you to stop, it's telling you that something important is about to happen. The next time you feel fear, say to yourself, I'm not afraid, I'm excited. My body is preparing me for success. This simple reframe can completely change your experience. Hill wrote, both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought. The same is true for fear and courage. They're both created by your thoughts. And since you control your thoughts, you control your experience. Every moment, you have a choice. You can focus on what might go wrong, or you can focus on what might go right. You can imagine failure, or you can imagine success. You can rehearse defeat, or you can rehearse victory. Hill taught that your subconscious mind can't tell the difference between something you vividly imagine and something you actually experience. So why not use this to your advantage? Every day, spend 10 minutes visualizing yourself acting with courage. See yourself facing your fears and succeeding. Feel the pride, the satisfaction, the joy of overcoming what once seemed impossible. Modern neuroscience has proven that visualization actually changes your brain. When you mentally rehearse courage, you're creating the neural pathways that make real courage easier. Now it's time for the most important part: your transformation. I want you to do something that scares you. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Send that text you've been avoiding. Make that phone call you've been putting off. Start writing that book. Begin that project. Have that conversation. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not ready. I need more time to prepare. I need more information. I need to think about it more. That's fear talking. Fear will always tell you you're not ready. Fear will always find reasons to wait. Fear will always choose comfort over growth. Hill wrote, don't wait. The time will never be just right. He was right. There will never be a perfect moment. There will never be complete certainty. There will never be guaranteed success. But here's what you do have: you have this moment, you have this choice, you have this opportunity to prove to yourself that you're stronger than your fear. I'm going to give you a 30-day challenge. Every day for the next 30 days, do something that scares you. It doesn't have to be huge, it just has to be scary for you. Days 1 through 10, focus on small acts of courage. Speak up in a meeting, try a new restaurant, take a different route to work, compliment a stranger. Days 11 through 20, take medium-sized risks. Apply for that job you want. Ask someone on a date. Sign up for that class. Start that side project. Days 21 through 30, take bigger risks. Have that difficult conversation. Launch that business. Make that investment. Take that leap. Keep a courage journal. Every day, write down what you did that scared you and how it felt. You'll be amazed at how much you change in just 30 days. Remember, courage is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Every act of bravery makes the next act easier. Every fear you face makes you more fearless. Hill promised that if you apply his principles consistently, you will see dramatic changes in your life. Not might see, will see. This isn't just positive thinking, it's a proven system. Your dreams are waiting for you on the other side of your fear. Your best life is waiting for you beyond your comfort zone. Your greatest self is waiting for you past your current limitations. Don't let this be just another motivational message you hear and forget. Let this be the moment you decide to become the person you were meant to be. You are bigger than your fear. You are stronger than your doubt. You are more capable than you know. You are ready for more than you can imagine. Say this right now. I am bigger than my fear. I walk with purpose. I live with courage. I act in spite of doubt. I am bigger than my fear. I walk with purpose. I live with courage. I act in spite of doubt. Your dreams are waiting, not for perfect timing, not for all the answers, but for you, without fear, without apology, without delay. Because what the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And the only thing standing between you and that vision is fear. And now you know how to beat it. This is your moment. Don't let fear win. Let faith, action, and belief lead the way. Now go and become the version of you that fear could never touch.